Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, October the 4th, 2022. Today's daily Bible readings come to us from Psalm 137, Lamentations 2:13 through 22, 1 John 5, 1 through 5, and then 13 through 21. Or you could have read the complementary text, Psalm 3, Habakkuk 2, 5 through 11, and then 1 John 5, 1 through 5, and 13 through 21. I'm going to look at Lamentations, which is from the semi-continuous. And this is the time of year, semi-continuous text during what we call ordinary time, or kingdom tide is kind of the old name for this time of year that we're in. Gives you like a semi-continuous journey through the Bible. And right now for year C, this time we're in the major prophets, specifically Jeremiah and Lamentations, and we're dealing a lot with the fall of Jerusalem and all the reasons why, all the because of why Jerusalem fell. So I'm going to look at that, but I want to, basically we're talking about dark days in Jerusalem, but I want to start by talking about Luke 23:29. We have this in Luke, and this is what this text makes me think of. Bear me out. Hear me out. You'll understand why. When Jesus is on his way to the cross, in Luke's telling of the story, we're told that there were women wailing for him on the side of the road, and I don't know that that's necessarily his friends. I think it's more like a thing, right? This is what you do. This is like, like kind of like a community, a social sign of sorrow, right? I don't know that any of them actually know. It's like their job. Jesus looks at them and he says, blessed are those who never conceived. He says, don't cry for me. Blessed, cry for yourselves, because blessed are those women who, who never bore children, who, never conceived, who never nursed, because they won't have the pain of watching their children die. And he's referencing another prophet, but it makes me think of this, when I read this in Lamentation, it makes me think of that. And he's really alluding to multiple stories, right? It's a common idea in the Old Testament, a common experience of Israel under siege, and usually they're under siege because of something they did. Jesus is alluding to that while pointing toward a future fate for the very city that he's in. Even as he is being led to his death, he says to the women who wail for him, cry for yourselves. Don't cry for me. Cry for yourselves. He makes them remember the worst day in Jerusalem's history, worst day up to that time, when the city was besieged by its enemies, when the food ran out, and desperate mothers gave desperate looks towards their desperate children. It's a suitable warning for a city willing to reject and kill the very Savior that it was so desperately in need of. The very thing that brought them to that fate that Jeremiah is singing about in Lamentations is the very thing that brings them to this day in Luke 23. Anyway, that's the DBR for today. Get out, have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Boop.